Hello Linux fans and welcome to Linux Quest, and for those of you in the US, happy Independence Day, and for those of you outside of the US, well, I just hope you're having an awesome day. So this is without a doubt the most popular Linux Quest poll to date, and the question was, what is your favorite Linux desktop environment? We had 348 votes in 24 hours, and I think a big part of that is that I posted a video giving everyone a heads up that there was a new poll because many of you are not getting the alerts. So I wanted to go ahead and stipulate too and let you know that YouTube gives you 5 different answers or fill in the blanks there. So you get no more than 5. And so I had to make some choices. So the last one was other, add your choice here. Now, right now, again, this is not scientific, but as it stands now, KDE is the clear winner with 37% of the vote. GNOME came in at 15%, XFCE came in at 22%, Cinnamon at 11%, and other, add your choice here, was at 15%. Now, the other, add your choice here, folks had to go in and comment and put what they wanted, and it looks like when you go through the results, which, by the way, there were 71 comments, which is astounding. We're going to read through these, so I've got to go fast, but it looks like Mate was the clear winner for the other, add your choice here. All right, so just want to go ahead and apologize in advance because if I butcher your name, or maybe I can just say pronounce your first name and not your last name, just wanted to go ahead and give you a heads up. I'll go through this as quickly as I can because there are 71 comments. Some of these comments are awesome and they really hit the mark. So again, my apologies if I butcher your name or I only say your first name or spell it out. All right, Joe Johnson, your vote was XFCE because it's fast, configurable, and is the only one that you can resize the whisker menu. Good point there, and I love the whisker menu, so thanks for your vote, Joe. Gaius Baltar, KDE, the most modern and powerful Linux desktop with very reasonable resource usage. And thanks for your vote, and you're spot on. I think many people are surprised at how few resources KDE really uses. Linux user, you went with KDE as your vote. You currently use tiling window managers, but you wish you could use KDE if you had to use a desktop environment. So again, KDE would be my pick as well. Serge, so you went with LXQT, lightning fast, probably the future DE with the greatest potential. So you're a big fan there. You go on to say that it's not as ugly as some people say, and you suggest having a look at OpenSUSE Tumbleweed, LXQT, Rosa, LXQT, Seduction, LXQT, or Red Core Linux, as well as Calculate or Fedora. And you do mention here that Seduction LXQT is just gorgeous. And of course, you had to throw in that you would check me later. So you got me on that one, but thanks for your vote. Triloblob, you went with GNOME. You love its workflow, but they have to stop removing features. Almost every update, you find that you have to find alternatives to things that were previously included. What's next? Are they going to remove the ability to add themes? You know, it's a big problem for a lot of people with what's happened with GNOME or GNOME. PCTLC, Colin, you went with GNOME, and I was surprised at that, but you're addicted to the super key. So thanks, Colin, for your vote. Mario, you went with KDE. And you go on, I laughed at this. You said, hi, you're the guy with the non-pronounceable last name again. But Mario, I appreciate your vote. You said you love the Deepen video. Thank you very much. And you really hope, the Deepen video was basically another poll, a previous poll. So you really hope that we keep up this format and that it will help newcomers. I think maybe it will help, especially on this. You've got people who can read through and just see everyone's opinion on the different desktop environments. Now back to the topic of KDE. Why KDE? It's flexible, light, stable, beautiful, and that sexy blur is what keeps me glued to it. And I can't argue with you there. It is certainly all of those things. Chris Ware. So all of you know Chris, I'm sure. Many of you watching this channel. If you don't, definitely do a quick search for Chris Ware and hop over and check out and subscribe to his channel. Chris, your vote was Mate, and you said it's your go-to for these days. So thanks very much for your vote. Mandeep, you went with GNOME. You have used all other desktop environments extensively, and you've always come back to GNOME at the end. And I'm just going to hover over some of this. No screen tearing, no random freezing. KDE is lightweight and based on Qt, but you have always found it complex with too many options. And I think that's the problem for some people. You're going to mention Cinnamon, that it behaves like Windows. However, if you're using an old PC with really old hardware, then your choice would be XFCE. And folks, I highly recommend, especially if you're new to Linux, go in and read these comments in detail. You'll get some really good feedback, I think. Serious Student. So you went with XFCE. It just works well, and you don't need anything more. Hey, that's keeping it simple, Serious Student. Peter Jansen, you had excellent comments here, and for the sake of time, I'm not going to read absolutely everything, but I do want to point out a few key things here. Two of the things you value most in the desktop are keyboard focus, lots of hotkeys, no need to use the mouse for anything, and I think there are many high-end or pro keyboarders out there who will agree. A big one here also is configurability, including zero mouse acceleration, hiding visual elements like the title bar, choosing several menu interfaces, having a good dark theme, lots of features including modern applications like syncing with the Android phone via KDE Connect, good out-of-the-box applications, Kate Console and Kdenlive, and certainly Kdenlive is one of those stars. And again, more points here. Please take the time to read Peter Jansen's comments because he had lots of good things to say here. Randomizer, your vote was XFCE, pretty lightweight, stable, and customizable as well. Your next favorites are LXQT and Mate. Vikas Barthwal, KDE was your vote because of the new blur mode, and some of the best features you like in KDE are KDE Connect and Wallpaper of the Day, as well as Vaults. And I have to say Vaults is really cool. I mean, folks, if you haven't looked at KDE Connect or Vaults, just two of those things are reason alone, I think, to give it a spin. TJ Wolf, hello TJ. Also check out TJ's YouTube channel. If you haven't, just type in TJ Wolf and you'll find him. His vote was KDE. You've been on it for almost a year, and you have not hippity-hopped yet. So good way to say it, TJ. Thanks, man. Ray Lowe, add your choice here. He went with Mate as his preference. Sylvain Duford, I'm sorry, Sylvain Duford. Your vote was KDE. KDE Plasma 513 rocks, and Sylvain, it absolutely does. Thank you for your vote. Ashish Patel, you went with XFCE as your vote, mostly because you have older hardware that runs like a charm with Linux Mint 19 XFCE. You have it on your dad's laptop to use as a glorified web browser, and he uses it to surf the web and pay bills. And it is certainly light and great for older hardware. Ray Miller, your vote was Cinnamon. It works well and does what you need, and you may try KDE soon. I highly recommend that you do. I'm going to love that comment there. So hopefully that's just enough push to get you to jump over and try KDE. So let me know what you think, Ray. RJL6789, and your other choice here was DWM, and you're going through a minimalist phase. It just works, and the hands-on approach makes you feel like you're getting some understanding of how all of the components of the DE are put together, and I can certainly see how that would kind of make you feel that way, so thanks for your vote. Michael Hawkins, your vote was LXDE. You keep a copy of the LXDE RCXML file for new installs, so that way you can quickly get it right back to where you want it, including your hotkey setup. And you've never found a better DE in terms of stability, speed, and efficiency. So thank you, Mr. Hawkins, for your vote. Alice, your vote was KDE. You like KDE because you can customize it to your liking and everything is integrated. And Alice, you're absolutely right. KDE is the customized king. So thanks for your vote. Kenny, you went with XFCE. Kenny Whidden, it's light, it's lightweight and fast. Zaneris, hopefully I got that. You went with i3WM. So thanks for your vote. Joe, let's see here. Prostico. Joe, I'm sorry. But Joe, thanks for your vote. You went with Budgie. You used Manjaro Budgie on your personal machine. I'm losing it. And Ubuntu Budgie 1804 on your work laptop. Joe, thanks for your vote. Basil Korj, Korj, your vote was GNOME. And then you went on to say, how come everyone craps on KDE all the time? It's what they call guilty pleasure. Anyway, you like GNOME because it's all-rounder, not too shabby, but not outdated either, and it just works. So thanks for your vote. Gordy Barn, you went with KDE. It's the best for your eyes, so thank you for your vote. Dan, Huervas, KDE, most configurable, easy to navigate, and binds best to most distros. And so thank you very much for your vote, Dan, and I would agree, very configurable. Dobrii, Dobrii, KDE was your vote. Kubuntu 1804, the best. So thanks for your vote. Joe Mello, Melo, M-E-L-O, KDE was your vote. I'm not sure why so many Linux distro reviewers seem to suggest that KDE is a heavy desktop environment. KDE Neon seems very light and fast to you these days, and you use it on a daily basis. Joe, I agree 100%. It gets a bad rap for being a heavy distro, and it's just, these days, it's not. Brian, E-R-B-A-C-H-E-R, Erbacher. Brian Erbacher, your vote was XFCE, speed and stability, and can be made to look modern and sleek. And I'll have to agree, you put in the right theming and icon pack and everything, and XFCE can look great, especially if you get the right theme that works with the whisker menu. Shane Thomas, your vote was other, and you went for Budgie, so thank you for the vote. Tom Ormiston, your vote was KDE. Thank you for the vote, Tom. Consistent improvements, quality technical base that's bang up to date. That's one thing I'll also say, and that's a very good point, that KDE has been very consistent as of late over the last year with updates and improvements. It just seems like they're on point on so many things. Marcel Jackson, your vote was XFCE. You love KDE and Cinnamon very much, but you think XFCE is, it's simple and it's great and stable, and you like it better than any other DE. Thanks for your vote, Marcel. Simon Templar, your vote was other, and you said even though you hate the menu, you really enjoy Budgie, especially on Arch. So thank you for your vote. I think if you could throw the whisker menu in with Budgie, you'd really have something there. Woogie Boogie, you went with Mate, so thanks for your vote, and just like saying your name, Woogie Boogie. Kelvin Miller, you went with KDE Plasma for the win. Yes, sir. It's going to get a little heart there for sure. KDE for the win. Nils Rotert, Nilsroetert, my apologies. But you went with Ubuntu Budgie, so your pick would be the Budgie desktop. Thanks for your vote. Mr. Luffy, or I believe that's a Mr. We'll just go with Luffy. Your vote was Deepin, the Deepin desktop on Vanilla Arch. Beautiful DE. Don't use the Deepin distro though, you say, because, well, it's got a bad rap for being spyware. Mr. Oliver, D-I-E-G-G-H-O. Mr. Oliver, your vote was i3WM. Isn't even a desktop, but ever since I started using it back in 2016, I just can't stop using it. So thanks for your vote there. Mr. Special R, so you said Unity. It just feels good to use and is the one you're most used to. And that helps. So you get used to something like Unity, and I know a few people like that. They got used to it, and they just love the way it works. So you also said, it isn't similar to a Windows design. You do like Mate as well as Cinnamon, pretty good on animations and has a comfortable feel, and XFCE is something you use on lower hardware. So thanks for your vote. Jonaby, you went with XFCE, very customizable. Thanks for your vote. Willem Van D-E-I-J-Z-E-N, you went with KDE, but there is a problem with KDE screen tearing on NVIDIA cards, so that's why you use Cinnamon. No screen tearing with Cinnamon. And there is, if you've got an NVIDIA card, that's been an issue for a while. Aman, you went with Cinnamon. Whatever I need in desktop environment is available, and it works flawlessly. You also like Unity over GNOME, and lastly, Deepin. Michael Porter, you went with Cinnamon, followed by Budgie, then XFCE. All right, Mr. PB here, because your first name, I think, or maybe that's your last name, BIMALMITHRAN. Quite the name. KDE was your vote. The reason you like KDE instead of others is because it uses less memory to run, about 600 to 700 megs to be precise, and you still get a really modern looking desktop. And that is so true. You know, many people are surprised when they see how few resources KDE is using compared to what it used to be. And here we go, sir. You have a vote of Budgie, and I apologize. I want to go with your last name here, KOPA. And I'm not sure what that is, NEB. But again, my apologies, but thanks for your vote for Budgie. And then we have the Drunken Alcoholic. So your vote was Budgie. It's GNOME without the bloat and much more user-friendly. Thank you for your vote. Logos Coder, you went with KDE. You started with KDE Neon and you love it, and that's an excellent distro. That was until you broke the whole thing. Then you used Budgie Desktop on Manjaro for a while, which is GNOME-based. Don't get me wrong. It's a great-looking spin of GNOME, and you really love the intelligent transparency of the panels, but it didn't have the customization you're looking for. And so please go on and read this comment. I love these great comments, longer comments. It's just for the video. We need to move on here. You go on to say Plasma looks very modern. Manjaro XFCE looks a little old, but that comes with lightweight desktops. Deepin was on your list, but it came off quickly due to low customization. Gartbull, you went with KDE. KDE has everything you need in a DE performance looks and is easy to customize, and you also like the Qt framework. So thanks for your vote. 6669393, you went with KDE, best in the business. Thanks for your vote. Bernard Marks, you went with KDE. It is best for you, the best GUI ahead of Cinnamon. The Linux historian, Noah, how are you? So you went on to say you don't like picking favorites because they each have their pros and cons. So you just didn't make a choice here, and guess what? You're totally free to do that, Noah. Hope things are well. Here we go. The Swarthy Plinker. That's just too fun to say, so I've got to say it again. Swarthy Plinker. You went with XFCE. You find it to be lightweight, simple, and stable, and the organization of settings and menus seems more logical. So thank you very much for your vote. Stefan de Groot. You went with XFCE. You love the standard layout. It's lightweight and highly configurable. TPASI 2020 UG, you went with other, and that was Matei, was your vote. Thanks a lot. Mark Stevens, you went with XFCE. It's stable, fully functional, and easy to customize. KIKAHA Limited, so we'll just go with LTD here. You went with Matei. Thanks a lot for your vote. Kumar, so this is the developer of /Linux. He said KDE. Obviously KDE is cool, and he goes on to mention he saw me deleting the elementary Juno video. Yes, I did, because as I continued to read in the comments from the developers, they really don't want people posting reviews. All I had done was a video showing what it looked like with music in the background. It wasn't a review, but I decided to go ahead, since they are so adamant about wanting to hold off on that, and pull it. Orca Falada, you went with Matei. It's the most versatile and customizable version of GNOME and lightweight. So thank you for your vote. Manjeet, you went with XFCE because it's the fastest and easily and highly customizable. And the thing you love the most in the Linux world is modularity, which XFCE is famous for. So thank you very much for your vote. Cigar Hingal, you went with XFCE. Remember my base Arch Linux, or still remember my base Arch Linux configured with XFCE. Thank you very much for your vote. Geezer Geek, you went with other, and let's see here. You've been using Budgie on Ubuntu since last October. Saw it was available and thought, what the heck, you'd try it. And you've seen no reason to move on. So your vote was Budgie. Mike L or Mike I, you went with i3 because it's easy to configure and it's very fast. 123 Jailbreak Me went with Cinnamon. Cinnamon now, it's so stable and polished and I love it so much. Thank you for your vote. Michael or Mikel, King of the Hills, you went with Deepin. Thank you for your vote. Bill Fawcett, XFCE, far more lightweight than GNOME. KDE, etc. Easy to pimp, and the Whisker menu doubles as an application search and launch facility, something a lot of other DEs are now copying. Very true. And the Whisker menu just rocks. Name removed, you went with Cinnamon. You have experience with an early Unity on Ubuntu and you didn't like it. You found Mate much better, and now that you use Cinnamon, you'll like it a bit better than Mate. Mate is still good. Mate is still good. I have no experience with KDE or GNOME. I would just say, name removed, give it a shot. You might like it, you never know. You hated Vista and wasn't impressed with 8.1 as far as Windows. I don't know anybody who liked Vista or Windows 8.1. So good points there, and thanks for the vote. Mr. Solitude, Hefesto Solitude, your choice was Mate. NAGIUS79, you went with Budgie. Thank you so much. AJ the PPG fan, you went with XFCE. I used to enjoy GNOME 3 because of its different layout. Then you moved to Mate for its simplicity, and now you've migrated to XFCE recently because after trying many DEs on your aging laptop, it runs the best. And so that is true. It is lightweight and runs great on a lot of older systems. And last but not least, Box Spring, you went for XFCE. You like XFCE because it's light and snappy. It has all the features that you need. All right, so that, I believe, is all 71 comments. And just, again, blown away by the response here of the poll. Love it. Love it, love seeing it. I think it's extremely helpful to people in general if they're exploring Linux. Your feedback is very valuable, and so it's fun. It's great being part of the community. Love doing these, and so stay tuned. We'll be doing more in the future, and hopefully we'll get more feedback. If we get much more than 70 comments, it's going to make for a long video, but we'll do the best we can, so keep those comments coming. As always, and again, I hope you have an awesome Independence Day if you're in the U.S. And if you're not in the U.S., hey, I just hope you have an awesome day, and thanks for watching.